Hello, this is Pyro Side Chat number 11. I actually know the number. That's a bonus. If you watch a previous video, you'll see that made some progress. Really want to give you a close-up view of what this technique can do. So, pretty cool. It is a bit time-consuming, but as I said in the previous video, labor of love. I just kind of start popping these out all over the place. These leaves and it may not even be a leaf that makes sense for this kind of tree. I don't really care because it's pseudo fantasy, so doesn't really matter. It's my rendition, my concept, my idea, and it can be any way I want. And I don't care what anybody has to say about it. So, there's that. I haven't done much since the last video. I mean, obviously, I've done some more detail work here. Well, that's about it. I have posted some more works on eBay. Keeping that rolling. Trying to post all my fine art stuff on there, and that's kind of an arduous process, bit by bit, doing what I can to get that posted on there. I like how this is going. This is obviously going to be some kind of thing. Some artists have their blue period or whatever, I don't know. This is my leaf period. I don't know how long I'll do it, or maybe it will forever be a part of my shtick. I'm not really sure. We'll find out. But haven't got a hold of any galleries in other states as of yet, which, it's only been, what, a day, two, something like that? So, still, I'm not in a huge race. Probably that might be what I do when I get my hand gets a little tired from doing this. Is I'll go sit down and go watch a program, absent-mindedly, of course, and maybe go through some works that I might want to submit at different galleries, and formulate a plan based on that. So I think that might be what I do, and do some research focus on a few different states. I don't think I mentioned it in the previous video. I actually was in a gallery in Boston, Massachusetts. A guy, I don't remember what group we were both in, or if I'm even still in that group, or if he's even still in the group. I can't even remember the guy's name. Generally, when I have a bad encounter with somebody, I'm not likely to attempt to keep them on my mind. If they're a negative person, or what I would call a bad person, I just cut them loose and let them go. Life's too short to waste your time on somebody like that. I mean, in fact, with my faith and my belief, it's, you're always best to bless them and let them go, in hopes that, maybe they'll change and they'll be a better person in time. But it's not my place to say, and it's not my place to ridicule or whatever. It just, I don't gel well with, that person. And yes, I'm talking about a curator. And this was a gallery in Boston, Massachusetts, and we were both part of a group. He sought me out, wanted to know if I wanted to put some works in his gallery. Well, I was obviously very excited and, very flattered, and like, well, sure, And he wanted to see more of my work, so I sent him a large sample of my work. Anybody who's been watching me for any length of time knows that some of my work is theology-based, faith-based. And he said, well, he didn't want any of that in his store. So I wasn't like offended right away, because some people find religion of any kind controversial. And so I'm like, well, at first I thought, well, maybe that, I thought maybe that was a warning sign. But then I'm like, well, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I thought, well, maybe he doesn't want any religious works in his gallery, because, he just doesn't want that controversy, which I could understand that. Doesn't sway my faith. So I just let it go. And over time, I did sell some stuff in there, but I found out that there was a few times where he had lowered the price of my works without asking, and I started looking more, because he also had an online presence of the same gallery, the same brick and mortar gallery. And I saw all these works that were more Eastern philosophy, religious, spiritual type works. And that bugged me, because it's like saying, and I understand it's his gallery, it's his right. If it's his gallery, he wants works that back up his faith, that's fine. But if his faith is allowed and there's no room for mine, then I really shouldn't be in there. I don't belong in there. And some people, might think, well, you're just being a typical Christian hypocrite or whatever. And my answer to that would be, we're all hypocrites. Everybody's a hypocrite. I've never met a non-hypocrite in my entire life. So, don't want to get into all that. But anyway, it really hit me the wrong way. And especially the pricing my works, lowering the price on them without even consulting me. That's, any artist will tell you, it doesn't matter where they come from, you don't do that. So I told him to return my works. I explained why, and I said, this isn't going to work. That's just, I can forgive you, fine, but I'm not going to put you in a position to do that to me again. And so he said he'd return them when he had a moment, that he was very busy. And I gave him 2 weeks, and then I sent him another email asking where they were, and, would you please return them? I would hate to see this become a legal issue, especially since I had the very form that you required me to sign, and I have a copy of it, and if it did become a legal battle, I'm the one who would most assuredly win. And he got real huffy. But within a few days, my works were returned. So, and that's, a drawback to going through brick and mortar galleries, things of that nature. You're going to have to deal with somebody's personality. But, there's also some drawbacks to going through stores like an Etsy store or eBay. I was just watching a video with my wife the other day on this gal that she was doing reselling or something. on eBay. And all the crap she went through, somebody tried to screw her over. And it wasn't clear on whether or not the gal was using a assumed persona, like stole somebody's persona, or just was, I'm not sure. But long story short, she kept fighting, and eventually won the day and got her stuff back, which is great. No matter where you go through, if you're going through Etsy, great. If you're going through eBay, great. You're going the more traditional route, brick and mortar stores, great. Or some other means, fine. You're going to have to deal with somebody or something, though there's pros and cons, and you just can't get around it. It's just the way it is. So, I sell, most of my works have come, or have sold, most of the works that I've sold have been due to Facebook. I'm not a huge Facebook fan. If it weren't for my art, I wouldn't even be on Facebook. I don't like it. To me, social media has done more to damage and further the decay of our morality and social way of life. You know, call it social media, and it's not social at all. And I always tell people, you know, I'm a terrible Facebook friend. And I am. I don't really... I might look at some things that are kind of funny. You know, I see a little GIF or something's funny. You know, I might give a thumbs up or whatever. But I'm really just there to advertise my art, and that's it. Maybe make connections with other artists in groups and stuff like that. That's the only interest I have. Beyond that, you know, people they want to go on there and complain about all their woes or put somebody down or tell me what they had for breakfast. I really don't care. Doesn't interest me. I don't pay any attention to that. Not saying if you do that you're a bad person. It's just, I guess I just don't see the point. So, but I don't know. Still trying to find my way, the right. I'm sure everybody keeps telling me, and I've even talked to other artists. They said my skill level, my subject matter, what I'm making it's right up there, and I shouldn't have any problem selling my artwork, and yet I do. So that's a really frustrating part. And I've heard enough of it where I no longer think that it's just lip service, because when people told me that initially, I'm like, yeah, whatever, you're just being nice. And in some ways, I almost wish that were the case, because then I could just pursue this as a hobby, as much as I'd rather have it as a career. I could just pursue it as a hobby and cut my losses, and, you know, it is what it is. But feeling that there is something to that, my work is at a certain level. I don't know, it's almost more maddening, because I can't let it go. You know, I feel like I've got to find the way to make this work somehow. I'm not sure what it is, but I've got to somehow figure it out. And I will, someday. A lot of videos say it's about, you're basically collecting collectors. And I think there is something to that, though it's so easy to say and so hard to do. I mean, I do have a few collectors of my work that, you know, buy from me a few times a year, but it's, you know, it's definitely not enough to sustain. So, got to work on that. If there's any other artists out there with greater experience, greater success, I certainly welcome your comments, advice, and if it's something I haven't tried or what have you, I'll certainly give it a shot. And if it works out well for me, I'll come back on here and I'll sing your praises. So, anyway, having a lot of fun for right now. I've missed doing this technique. I mean, I'm applying it slightly different than what I used to do when I did Inkworks. Wow, you're not even seeing what I'm doing. Here we go. Sorry about that. So, it's slightly different, but it's pretty much keeping in step with what I used to do with ink. So that's kind of cool. Got to goose that up a little bit. Right there. That looks good. And, but that's kind of the whole point, you know. If I didn't enjoy doing it, why on earth would I be trying to make it and sell it and frustrating myself the way that I am? I mean, that's kind of stupid. Because right now I have a regular job. I wouldn't say that I love it, but I do like it. And it's stimulating and it's interesting and it pays very well. At least it's most I've ever made. Benefits are really good. I'm happy there. I'm content. I'd be, I suppose, more happier, if my artwork would really take off. But, you know, just kind of working on that. So, just keep trying until I get that figured out, right? So, okay, well, I'm starting to ramble. Maybe the fumes are getting to me. So, everybody have a great week as I start to progress on this. Like I said, probably won't do another video until I start to color this, painting it with watercolors, which will be the next step after all the wood burning's done. So, you all have a great night. Blessings.